Welcome to our deep dive into Canada's game-changing visa rules for Indian students, workers, and tourists. These new regulations are shaking up travel and migration plans, with stricter permit cancellations and financial hurdles hitting hard. From the end of the student direct stream to tougher border checks, we'll unpack how these changes affect Indians chasing dreams in Canada. With thousands facing uncertainty, this video breaks down the rules, their impact, and what you need to know to navigate them. Hit subscribe, like, and let's explore why Canada's visa landscape is tougher than ever for Indians. Stay tuned. Reasons for cancellation. Canada's new visa rules empower border officials to cancel temporary resident documents like electronic travel authorizations, temporary resident visas, work permits, and study permits. Grounds for cancellation include submitting false information, having a criminal record, or if officials suspect an individual won't leave Canada after their stay. Lost, stolen, or mistakenly issued documents can also be revoked, as can permits of those who gain permanent residency. Aimed at enforcing immigration compliance, these rules heighten risks for Indian citizens. Even small errors in applications could trigger cancellations, disrupting plans and causing financial losses. Indian applicants must ensure accuracy and transparency in documentation to avoid penalties and maintain valid visa status. Impact on Indians. The new visa rules significantly disrupt Indian students, workers, and tourists, with numerous permits at risk of cancellation. Students face potential losses of tuition and housing costs, derailing education and work permit transitions. Workers risk job losses and financial instability if permits are revoked, impacting livelihoods. Tourists may encounter entry denials, wasting travel expenses. These changes create uncertainty for Indian families pursuing opportunities in Canada, where Indians are a major temporary resident group. Stricter scrutiny challenges applicants, demanding flawless compliance to avoid cancellations. This could deter Indian applicants, reducing Canada's appeal as a destination for study, work, or tourism, while affecting the economic contributions Indians make to Canada's education and tourism sectors. Suspension of Student Direct Stream, SDS. Canada ended the Student Direct Stream, which fast-tracked study permits for Indian students with upfront tuition and investment certificate requirements. Now, students must navigate the slower regular study permit process, which allows tuition installments but demands rigorous documentation, including proof of funds and ties to India. This shift causes delays and uncertainty for Indian students, a key part of Canada's international student community. Longer processing times and stricter checks complicate applications, potentially discouraging prospective students. While installment payments ease some financial pressure, the loss of expedited processing reduces Canada's appeal as an education hub. Indian families face increased challenges in securing timely study permits under these tougher rules. Financial barriers. The new visa rules impose steep financial barriers for Indian applicants, particularly students, requiring a large investment certificate for living expenses. This strains families relying on loans or savings. Permit cancellations risk non-refunded costs like tuition, housing, or loan repayments, hitting students and workers hard. Tourists face losses on travel bookings if denied entry. These financial risks make Canada a costlier destination for Indian temporary residents, demanding careful budgeting. The threat of cancellations could deter applicants unable to afford potential losses, reducing Indian student and tourist numbers. This impacts Canada's economy, which relies on their spending, while increasing stress for Indian families pursuing education, work, or travel, as they navigate high costs and stricter compliance requirements. Tourist and worker implications. Indian tourists and workers face tougher scrutiny under the new rules. Tourists, requiring pre-approved visas with no visa on arrival option, risk entry denials, losing travel investments. Workers with cancelled permits may be forced to leave Canada, disrupting jobs and financial stability. Cancellation notices, sent via email or immigration accounts, demand constant vigilance. Indian workers in fields like technology or healthcare face career setbacks, while tourists lose on bookings. Both groups need meticulous documentation to meet stringent entry standards, proving ties to India and compliance. Rising refusal rates heighten uncertainty, challenging Indian temporary residents. These rules may reduce Canada's appeal for Indian workers and tourists, impacting their contributions to Canada's economy and cultural diversity. Application requirements remain stringent. Indian visa applicants face strict requirements, needing a valid passport, proof of ties to India, sufficient funds, and no criminal or immigration issues. Visitor visas, work permits, and study permits require clear intent to leave Canada post-stay, now under closer scrutiny due to cancellation powers. Students need acceptance letters and substantial financial proof, including an investment certificate. Lengthy processing times and fees apply, with no visa on arrival for Indians, except U.S. permanent residents needing an electronic travel authorization. These rigorous standards demand thorough preparation to avoid refusals. Indian applicants must provide flawless documentation, as minor errors could lead to cancellations, disrupting plans for study, work, or tourism in Canada, especially under the new, stricter enforcement policies. Context and concerns. The new visa rules reflect Canada's push to manage temporary resident numbers and curb illegal migration amid concerns over housing and job competition. Indian students and tourists, vital to Canada's economy, face increased scrutiny, with rising visa refusals and entry denials. The rules create financial and emotional stress for Indian applicants, especially students with loans or workers reliant on jobs. Tighter immigration policies may deter Indian applicants, reducing economic benefits from their spending. Concerns about fairness in cancellations persist, as unclear processes could unfairly impact compliant applicants. Indian temporary residents worry about navigating stricter rules, urging clearer communication from immigration authorities. These changes risk diminishing Canada's appeal as a welcoming destination for Indian students, workers, and tourists. Increased border scrutiny. The new visa rules intensify border scrutiny for Indian temporary residents, with officials now empowered to closely inspect documents and intentions at entry points. Indian students, workers, and tourists face heightened questioning about their purpose, funds, and plans to leave Canada. Even valid permit holders risk being flagged for minor inconsistencies, leading to entry denials or cancellations. This creates anxiety for Indian travelers, who must carry comprehensive documentation to prove compliance. The stricter checks aim to prevent overstays but may disproportionately affect Indians due to their large presence among temporary residents. Increased border vigilance could deter Indian applicants, fearing unpredictable rejections, and strain Canada's reputation as a welcoming destination for Indian students, workers, and tourists. Appeal process limitations. The new visa rules limit appeal options for Indian applicants facing permit cancellations or entry denials, creating significant challenges. Previously, some decisions could be contested through immigration reviews, but the expanded cancellation powers offer little recourse. Indian students, workers, or tourists must provide compelling evidence to challenge decisions, often requiring legal assistance, which is costly and time-consuming. The lack of a streamlined appeal process increases vulnerability, as cancellations can disrupt education, jobs, or travel plans without clear redress. This opacity raises concerns about fairness, particularly for compliant Indian applicants caught in bureaucratic errors. Limited appeals may discourage Indian temporary residents from pursuing opportunities in Canada, fearing irreversible setbacks, and highlight the need for transparent immigration procedures. Impact on Canada-India relations. The stricter visa rules risk straining Canada-India relations, as Indian students, workers, and tourists face increased barriers. Indians contribute significantly to Canada's economy through education, labor, and tourism, fostering cultural and economic ties. However, tougher regulations and permit cancellations could deter applicants, signaling a less welcoming stance. This may prompt India to scrutinize Canadian travelers or investors in response, affecting bilateral cooperation. Indian communities in Canada, a vital diaspora, may view the rules as discriminatory, fueling tensions. The policies challenge the historically strong Canada-India partnership, built on shared values and migration flows. Clear communication and fair implementation are crucial to maintain goodwill and ensure Canada remains an attractive destination for Indian talent and visitors.